What up, reader fam? Today I'm bringing you my November reads, the video where I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I'm planning to read in the month of November. It's gonna be a good bookish time. To be honest, I'm still low-key, still working on some books from my October TBR because life has been a mess lately, and I'm just behind on all things in life, which tends to just be a running theme throughout my life. I am forever behind on all the things. I think I was just overwhelmed in the month of October, and that kind of messed with my reading life a little bit, which happens from time to time. You just gotta go with the flow. I'm still working on Kingdom of Ash, which, Lord above, help me. This book is huge, and it's taken me forever and a day to read this thing. What I've read of it so far, I've really enjoyed, but it's just one of those books where you just keep reading it and you don't see the end in sight. It feels like a never-ending book, which is not a bad thing, but when I'm reading this, I don't feel like I'm ever really making progress in it. Like, I'll read it for an hour, and I've only read like 30 pages. Why you gotta be so big? Then I still haven't read A Map of Days by Ransom Riggs, which I know. Who am I? What's wrong with me? Why is this happening to me? There is a reason for this, and I think I'm going to talk about it more in another video, but I definitely hit a reader burnout with this series, and it pains me. I don't like it. I want to have read this book already, but I just haven't. It just feels so wrong that I haven't read this book yet. I feel like I'm committing a crime by having it remain unread, so I'm going to really have to pick up the pace and get with it. Then I decided to hold off on completing Shadow of the Fox last month, which I did start this book and I got like 70 pages in, but I decided that I wanted to wait till closer to the live show, the Booksplosion live show, to complete this book, just so that it's fresh on my mind and that I can have a good and well thought out discussion. That way it's fresh as pie in my mind. Is fresh as pie even a saying? I feel like that thought just poofed in my head and I'm not sure if it's actually a real thing. I guess I'm just craving pie right now. I could actually go for some apple pie right now. I'd be okay with that. So on top of those books, which I would like to complete those books this month, I also picked out 4 other books that I would like to read, so I'm going to share those with you now. First up, I have here A Separate Piece by John Knowles, a classic. Who have I become? Look at me spicing up my reading life. This is actually a classic that I've started many a time, but I've yet to fully commit myself to it. For some reason, every time I start it, it just doesn't really have that pull, but I am determined to get sucked into this book this month and to complete it. I can't fully put my finger on why I'm so hesitant to carry on with this book. It actually might be because a lot of you guys have told me that this book will be a book that I end up hating. While that has made me kind of hesitant, it's also made me really curious. Like, I want to know why so many people think I'm going to hate this book. So I'm going to try to let that be the pull that keeps me invested in this book. I'm going to become an investigator and find out why you guys think I'm going to hate this book. The Book Investigator. I will get to the bottom of this. I'm actually going to hardcore laugh if this ends up being a book that just blows me away and I end up loving it. What I have read of it, I haven't hated, but it's definitely a book that I feel like is over descriptive. Like, the writing itself is very, very, very descriptive. Like, it really paints up a picture of what you're seeing. That's not necessarily a good thing and not necessarily a bad thing. I already have this feeling that things could have been cleaned up a little bit to make things more concise. But I don't hate it yet, so that's a good sign. I guess I should tell you guys what this book is about. That would be helpful information, but this will also not be helpful because the description is super vague. So we have these 2 boys and they're friends, and they're living in New England during World War II. Something happens between the friends and it breaks their innocence. And that's the description. I told you it was vague. I wasn't lying. I know next to nothing about this book, which might have you wondering why I even decided to pick this book up in the first place. And honestly, I just picked it up out of curiosity. I'm curious. So curious. I want to know what the heck happened between these 2 friends. I feel like curiosity is always going to be the thing that pulls me into these books that have these really vague descriptions. Next up, I have here The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. Fun fact, Haley from Haley in Bookland sent me this book for my birthday like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm just now getting around to reading it. I'm sorry, Haley. I know this is one of your favorite books. I'm just super late to the party, okay? But I have arrived. Let's get this party started. Let's get it started in here. I always hear relatively good things about this book, but at the same time, when I say that in videos, I feel like a lot of you guys are like, yeah, I actually hated that book. I guess that's bound to happen with every book though. Anyway, this book is about these 2 twins named Ava and Henry Lavender. Henry was born mute and Ava was born with wings. Casual. Because of the fact that she has wings, she really struggles fitting in. So she decides one day that she's going to dive into her family history and try to figure out what the heck is going on with her wings. Like, why does she have wings? I mean, I'd personally be the same way if that were were me. I believe doing this leads Ava down a dark path. This sounds super mysterious. I'm very curious about her family history and why the heck she has wings. Like, is there an actual legitimate reason as to why she has wings? Is she half bird, half angel, half airplane? I'll have to get to reading to find out, though I highly doubt she's half airplane. Next up, I have here another blue book. Apparently, I'm in the mood to read some books that have blue on the cover, and that book is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. This book follows our main character, Julia, and her sister died in a very mysterious way. In the process of figuring out how her sister died, she's also going through the journey of finding herself. Not to sound super morbid right now, but I love reading books that talk about grief and death. I just find them to be such complicated discussion topics. Everyone reacts to death in different ways, and also everyone has a different idea about death and what happens when a person dies. And I just find that so interesting to read about. I know it's really sad and morbid, but that's just how I feel. I'm just drawn to books like this for some reason. I'm drawn to books that talk about death. I feel like my extra curious side is showing today, and there's not much that I can do about that. I've been exposed. The last book I'm going to be aiming to read this month is going to break my blue book chain, and that is WAPA, Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire. This is the sequel to Every Heart a Doorway, which I read a few months back and loved. I believe the series is more so a companion series, so this follows two characters named Jack and Jill, who were side characters in the first book, and they are very peculiar and creepy characters, and I honestly can't wait to read about them and just find out more about them in this book. This series follows these kids who have gone through doors into magical worlds, and then they come back and they have to deal with fitting back into society. I believe this one actually follows Jack and Jill stepping through their doorway into their magical world, so we'll get to kind of actually see a magical world in this book. In the first book, we kind of get details about different magical worlds that the kids have gone to, but we don't really get that much detail, so this one's going to dive into that world and show us what these magical places look like. So I'm excited to jump back into this world and to find out what happens next in this series. So those are some books that I would like to get to in the month of November. I want to hear from you guys now down below in the comments. Have you read any of these books, and what are your thoughts on them? I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. If you haven't read any of these books, then let me know down below in the comments some books that you are planning to read in the month of November. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos frequently on this channel, so if you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe, or go and hit the little bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew.